Hey, this is Marcus Gustafsson from aetas.com, and today we're going to create a promo film for aetas.com. Check it out! So that's what we are going to create today, and I think you can apply this tutorial to your own site. Maybe make a promo film about your site, or maybe make a promo film about an application you made or something. Anyway, let's begin the tutorial. Right, so let's get starting. First of all, let's create a new composition. We're going to use the preset PAW D1 DV widescreen square pixel. Set the duration to 10 seconds. Press OK. And let's import the print screen we have of the aetas site. Let's pre-compose this print screen to page. Let's pre-compose this page to site. Let's get into the site composition, and we want to create a reflection of this page composition. So let's duplicate the height of this composition to 2. Let's move this upwards. Let's duplicate the page and flip it and move it down. And we want to fade out these the page reflection, and we're going to use the linear wipe. Set the wipe angle to 180 and the transition around there. Feather it out a bit, and set the opacity to 25%. Let's get back to our composition. Scale it down, turn it into 3D layer as well. And let's add an background. So we're going to create a new layer. Name it BG. Move it beneath the site. And let's add the ramp effect. Let's move the end of the ramp to where the reflection starts, so around here, and the start color to some light gray. Let's add the camera. So as you can see, the site doesn't really seem to be in the scene, so we're going to create some shadows around the site. So we're going to a new solid, and we're going to name this soft shadow. Do it 700 by 700, and a black solid. Turn it to 3D, and let's flip it 90 degrees. Add an ellipse mask, and size it down and add some feather to it, and lower the opacity somewhere over there. And let's scale it closer, something like that, and we want to add some hard shadow close to the edges. So we're going to add an hard shadow. I'm going to lower the feather a bit there and scale it down closer to the site. There, looks good. And let's add some shadow to the actual site. So we're going to into our site pre-composition again. Let's duplicate the page. Let's rename this dark. Let's rename this to reflection. Let's add the level effect. Make it a bit darker. And add the mask to it. Around there. And let's set it to subtract. And add some feather to it. Let's see how that looks. Maybe a bit too much. Oops. There, better. Now it looks like it's more in the scene when I rotate the camera. So let's reset the camera. Let's add some text shapes to this site. So we're going to import an Photoshop file with the text shapes. These text shape I got from DeviantArt, and this is just a Photoshop brush that I used. I'm going to copy this layer and paste it and pre-compose this to Tech 1 and rename it Tech 1 there as well. I'm going to add some text here and some binary code here. So first of all, let's increase the width of the composition to 800. So let's add the text. I'm going to write amazing tutorials. Let's scale it up. There, let's add some binary code. 1001010011111. There. And there. Let's add some ones and zeros here as well. Rotate 45 degrees. Let's scale it down. And there. Let's add some more ones and zeros there. There, looks good. And let's animate the text shape. So we're going to select the layer text shapes and double click on the rectangle tool. So let's set a keyframe around here. Let's see here for the path. Let's animate this backwards. Select these two and move them down. Select these two and move them to the right. Let's see how that looks. And it goes out, but I want these 2 points to animate upwards when the mask layer reaches this point. So we're just going to select these 2 points and move them down somewhere around there. Let's see how that looks. Perfect. And when the mask reaches there, we want to start animating the opacity of the text. So we're going to select the opacity, lower it to 0, and go into the range selector. Set a keyframe for the start, move it forward a bit, and set it to 100. Let's go to our ones and zeros at the bottom here and do the same thing there. Add the opacity let's see here. There it reaches the ones and zeros. I'm going to animate these as well. I'm not going to animate the opacity, we're going to animate the range selector. There. Click on start. Cool. Let's animate these zeros as well. Animate opacity and 0. Not going to animate the start value, it's going to animate the end value instead of here. So it goes somewhere around there. Click on end and move forward and set it to 0. See how that looks? Great. Let's get back to our main composition. Let's turn these tick layer to a 3D layer. And let's scale it down. Maybe 30. Let's move it around here. And let's duplicate this tick layer. And go in here. And we're going to flip this. So let's see here, we're going to there. Let's see here, amazing tutorials. There, amazing tutorials. And let's set this awesome articles. Great, let's move this to the right. Let's flip this minus 45 degrees. And see here. Need to flip these keyframes, so let's press the U and let's delete these keyframes and animate the start value. Great. Let's get back to our main composition and let's move this as well. Let's turn it 3D, scale it down to 30. Let's move it up here. There, that's our scene. And now we're going to start animating the camera. And we're going to add an null object as a camera controller. And I got a lot of questions about why I use an null object as a camera controller. And I think that in this particular project, this knowledge object is important than ever. Because we're going to animate the camera around the site. And it's kind of hard as it is to animate the camera. Now, let me show you how the bad example of rotating the camera around an object. So let's go up top here. Let's press the position and set a keyframe for it. Let's move forward a bit. Around there and there. There and there. Now, as you can see, this isn't a perfect circle. And if we go back to our active camera, you can see the camera is kind of like moving back and forth, really weird. And now, you know, so that's not how we're going to do it. We're going to parent the. Let's see here. Let's going to reset these. We're going to parent the camera to the null object as we usually do. So if I go into rotation and I start rotating the Y rotation, you see that the camera is rotating perfectly. Cool. So what we're going to do when we're animating the camera is we're going to animate the X and Y of these null objects, and we're not going to animate the Z, because if we animate the Z, let's see, we move forward and now we start rotating it, you will see that the camera will not rotate around these sides. So we're going to leave this value alone. We're going to animate the Z position of the camera instead. And I know in this particular scene we're going to animate only the Z position of the camera. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to set a keyframe for the position, press right click on the position and separate dimensions. Delete these two keyframes and press U again. Now we only have the Z position of the camera. So let's start with a cool angle. I'm just going to there. And let's rotate it and move it down a bit. Let's zoom in. Something like that. Let's set a keyframe for position and Y and Z. Let's move forward in time. Just going to click off these two. And just going to rotate it a bit. There. And we want to go to our first text shape here. Let's turn that on. Text shape 2. There. Let's move it upwards. Let's see here. There. Something like that. I want to rotate the composition so the text is looking more towards the camera. There. I'm going to rotate the camera a bit as well while the text is animating. Let's just move the composition a bit to the right first. I'm going to start animating somewhere over here. There. There. And when the text shape is done animating, we want to move the camera down here. Just turn the text shape on. There, looks good. Oops, wrong composition. I want that one. I want to move it to right, so it starts animating when the camera reaches the text shape. And there. Let's see how this looks. Looks good. And when this text shape is done animating, we want to flip the camera to the other side of the site. And let's set a keyframe for. Let's see, we just want to rotate it a bit first when the text shape is animating. Cool. Let's flip it. 180. Reset the position. So the text shape is still here, so we want to kill those while the camera is rotating. I think we can kill the this text shape while we're zooming in on the Amazing Tutorials text. Let's animate the opacity of this one, so it's kind of fades out. Let's set the opacity keyframe for somewhere over there. Cool. There. As you can see, the site is flipped, so the text is backwards. What we can do is just simply duplicate this site and flip it. And I don't know if you can see this, but we have two reflections here. One reflection from the front and one reflection from the back. And we can fix that. Pretty simple. We're just going to create a new solid here, and we call this sep as in separator. Make it white and move it beneath all the compositions. So now we want to see one reflection. Great, and we want to have the AE Tuts logo here. So we're going to import the illustration file I have. Let's drag it down here, and 3D. Let's flip it. A lot of flipping today. Scale it down and move the logo a bit towards the camera, maybe 100 pixels. Cool. And I just wanted to rotate the camera a bit here as well. Let's see here. There's the camera. Alright, so we can see the logo here. We're just going to animate the opacity of the logo. Set it to 0, and when the camera starts to move, we want to have it to 100. Oh, forget to set the keyframe. Cool. That looks perfect. Let's see how it looks when we preview this. And that looks perfect. So that's it. One thing we have benefit, how to say, is that we pre-composed the print screen. So we have one reference print screen. So we go into our page here. Let's say you want to have a different page here. Maybe the PSD tutorial site. I'm just going to drag it in here. And we have a new site. And let's go back to our composition. And there we have a new site. With the reflection and the shadow is all correct. So that's it. Hope you guys have enjoyed the tutorial, and hopefully you can create your own promo film for your site and get famous. This has been Marcus Gustafsson from aetats.com. Thank you for listening.